Hello everyone and welcome back to Calliope Music Reviews. My name is Colin and this is the Music Canon. Now, I need you to hold it right there. I need you to stop what you're doing, put down your phone, put it on Do Not Disturb, okay? Turn off your second monitor with RuneScape on idle. I know that you... Today we are looking at the fourth studio album by the New Jersey native and the genre-bending Jane Remover called Revengeseekerz. Now, I've already covered Jane Remover's background in my review of her venturing side project earlier this year, but this album deserves its own context, beginning as a COVID-19 lockdown hyperpop hopeful and evolving into a diverse student of digital production. Jane Remover has put her listeners on a wild ride of chaotic mashup, teenage indie-tronica and glitch pop, and even heavy existential shoegaze. While various singles in 2024 hinted at a new alternative R&B and emo rap sound, Jane has decided to somewhat return to her hyperpop roots on Revengeseekerz. However, it's not that simple. You see, Revengeseekerz is just what it sounds like. It is a sonic vengeance, deconstructing Jane's original highly digitized and upbeat pop and hip-hop sound into an implosion of all of her influences, making for something familiar, yet entirely unique. Revengeseekerz is characterized by its extraordinarily harsh sound, finally unleashing all of the glassy electronics featured in Jane's previous music with no concern for subtlety or balance. I mean, this record is so loud and bold, it'll make your grandma puke her guts out. It's so dense and disgusting, it'll give you stank-faced lockjaw requiring medical attention. I hope these visuals can help you see that this is the real deal in maximalist electronic production, incorporating the sharp, laser-like synthesizers of rage music, fusing them with the monstrous kick drums and speedy tempos of hard dance, and even the retro video game textures of digicore. It is all here on this album, even bringing in a heavy hip-hop influence as enormous trap sub-bass leaves the entire mix bouncing on hills of punky refrains and confident vocals. And speaking of, Jane brings her best with an assertive play on the Charlie XCX heavily auto-tuned rap singing, giving each track an added layer of edge and sinister melody. Now, this is where I have to say that your grandma may have a point in her displeasure with this music. At times, it can be a bit too chaotic for its own good, becoming quite messy when Jane's vocal rants get trapped under muddling guitars and synths. I think this is most notable on the second track, Psycho Boost, featuring Danny Brown, and the fifth song, Angels and Camo. However, and this is a big however, the engineering on the record is surprisingly balanced, other than a few mid-tone interlacings and extraneous glass-shattering sound effects. Jane shows a true skill for creative production here, ushering some honestly mind-blowing textures and some fantastically palpitating beats. She embraces industrial buildups and four-on-the-floor drops, like on Experimental Skin and Turn Up or Die, before bouncing in trap cadences at the end of Dancing with Your Eyes Closed. And of course, she brings back her signature grunge guitar sound on Star People, Dream Flasher, Fade Outs, and Dark Knight Castle, adding even more edge and more mood to the instrumentals. Yes, it's a feral and largely lawless sound, but it all comes together rather snugly like a 10,000 piece puzzle, leaving you in awe at how so many different components can make one cohesive piece. I may be getting ahead of myself here, considering there are some technical issues and a weaker, more typical string-based ballad on Dark Knight Castle, but This album really feels like a new innovation in the evolution of hip hop and EDM, blowing into a world of hysterics and uncompromising tones. And I think uncompromising is a good way to describe the message of this record, too. The album title says it all. The record is a tale of vengeance, mainly between Jane and her own fame. Constantly referencing her previous works, Jane tells us how fame and the achievement of one's dreams can actually become their biggest enemy. In fact, the first line of the record references Jane's most popular album, Frailty, saying she could have made millions continuing to make the music that blew her up instead of seeking other, more personally rewarding sonic paths. She makes this point to illustrate her own toxic fandom, who have seemingly made Jane a figurehead for their own desires rather than a real person who seeks change and improvement like everyone else. This is where the notion of revenge comes in, as Jane seeks to take the power back from her fan base, choosing to revisit older sounds on her own validity rather than through peer pressure or monetary gain. As a result, the lyrics here are bold and unafraid, much more braggadocious and referential as Jane leaves her past personas behind. She is still anecdotal and humorous like this verse on Professional Vengeance, but her words take on a new meaning here, like all the insecurities and victimization explored on Frailty and Since It's Designated has transformed Jane into this pop star anti-hero, coping with drugs, sex, and desires of never being discovered at all. The final track, JR, sums up these issues with her fan base and her public perception, creating a commentary on the state of modern parasocial behavior as fans take advantage of the people who made great impact on their lives through art. Jane ends with the very eerie biblical imagery of a white horse, signifying that despite her best efforts, her past self may always be there, haunting her till the end. Okay, so that may be a bit to digest, but I think JR does a good job at communicating this message, even if some of the wordplay isn't exactly top-notch. And of course, with such a tumultuous sound, the whole experience can get lost a little during those especially opaque moments that I mentioned before. Yet the sheer audacity of the production is met with such conviction that I have no choice but to give credence to Revengeseekerz' sound. The spectacularly explosive interlacing of rap and EDM alongside a stunning aptitude for vicious and life-threatening textures makes this so fun to listen to. And maybe this isn't an exact direction electronic music and alternative hip-hop will go in the near future, but I think it's where I want it to go, with additional discoveries and innovations, of course. But I gotta live in the moment, and in the meantime, I'm completely blown away. So I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 for Revengeseekerz. You can't go wrong with any of the tracks on this, but I think the best are Experimental Skin, the seminal Dancing with Your Eyes Closed, and the relentless banger that is Professional Vengeance. And alright, that'll do it for this quick review on the new Jane Remover record. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope you enjoy the record too. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Also, you can suggest any other records or albums that you would like me to review in the future. I can't guarantee that they're going to be a 9, but we'll see. I want to see what you guys have. And with that, this has been Jane Remover, Music Canon, and I will see you guys in the next one.